as well. So let's talk about the whole Ozuna thing. I had a lot of questions a week ago. One, are we going to get Ozuna? Right? Two, if we get Ozuna, what is his role going to be? Because there is no DH. You can't put him at DH. Is he going to be able to be in the outfield, right? And that's a lot of money, potentially, right? Before this deal happened, I had it in my mind. This is a lot of money. He's going to want a long-term deal, and I don't know how much I'm willing to give him. I have swayed on this. I've gone back and forth on it a good bit because there's a few plays that stick out in my mind when I think of Ozuna in the outfield. Because I remember watching a game with the Cardinals 2 seasons ago, and Ozuna hopped up on the outfield fence, and it became a meme pretty much because it was so comically bad of a play. But at the end of the day, the guy's a Gold Glover, So if he works hard, if he can be consistent in the outfield, I'm not gonna hold it against him. And he certainly drives in more runs than he lets go in the outfield. So that's the way I feel about it. He might not be, King Griffey Jr. out there, but he'll get the job done nonetheless. So I appreciate you guys hopping in. I'll see your comments. I'll get to them, I promise. Super chats will get you priority. This is just how it is, guys. I can't help it. But we are going to hit a couple things. So a couple of highlights from the press conference today. These guys are asking Ozuna and Alex Anthopoulos directly questions that you guys want to know. His defense, what's his role going to be, things like that. So, and how the deal happened also. So, an interesting thing I heard in the interview, just the press conference in general, was Ozuna waited until the last minute. And I sort of, everybody kind of knows that, just considering the fact that his market's obviously there, right? People need a hitter, people, especially all across the American League. If you want him as a DH, that's the role that everybody thinks he can play. Of course, everybody's going to want the guy that led the National League in homers last year. So the market was certainly there. But he loves the Braves. He feels the most comfortable with the Braves. The coaching staff just in general. So he waited until the last minute. He gave the Braves every opportunity to explore other options and circle back to them. They, of course, did that. And now you see what we have now. We have a deal for 4 years. So Alex Anthopoulos was asked, what about Marcell Ozuna do you was worth bringing back, in essence. And Alex said, I was as impressed with the person as I was the performance. And I think that's a very good way to put just the overall attitude of Marcell Ozuna because, the guy brings an energy. I said this last night. The guy brings an energy that no other player can. I believe that because never did I ever think I would see a guy taking a selfie round at first base. So, originally I didn't want Marcell Ozuna back just because I, like a lot of you, thought he's just a DH. I'm here to tell you I really think it's time to embrace him because Alex did say that Marcell is our everyday left fielder. He has very good speed. He works hard. He basically talked him up, and he did say that that is the everyday left fielder. So it was a really interesting conversation that I actually watched a few minutes back. But the other interesting thing, Marcell was actually asked directly about what about the Braves brought him back. And of course, he talked about the coaching staff, talked about the players, but he said that being in the postseason is the most important thing to me. And that is what I want to hear after last season. So I think it was very interesting to hear from Marcell and Alex together, but also just interesting to hear how the deal went. In terms of his defense, Anthopoulos said that the defensive criticism is a bit unwarranted. There's a couple plays, like I just said, a couple plays that stick in your mind, and then you label that guy forever. And he also said that he thinks that Marcell can be very solid and left. But another thing that was pretty interesting, we know how the Braves operate. We know they do short-term deals, and see what they can get out of somebody. And they've done that for the past 2 or 3 years. Donaldson was the first major one, and then Marcell happened. But something that you didn't think, that I don't think a lot of people realize, is they do long-term deals too. They gave Acuna a long-term deal. They gave Ozzy a long-term deal, but they did it for a very, very exceptional price. They also did it with Will Smith. Of course, we haven't really seen the fruits of that labor yet, but hopefully that will change over the next season or two. But Anthopoulos said on one-year deals, he said, it's not something we really seek to do. We handle each case individually. And he actually said, the rumor mill, just what I've been telling you guys, there's a lot of rumors out there in terms of how these trades, how the market goes down. Right now, a big one is Jose Ramirez. That's a big one you're hearing, to play third base. And I guess trade Austin Riley and a couple other people. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But, one of the rumors in terms of Ozuna was that the Braves and him are arguing or debating over how long this contract's going to be. We want 2 years. No, I want 4 years. Anthopoulos came out and said that is not the case. He said 4 years was the sweet spot. It just took some time to get the deal through, and he's glad he could get it done. So that's pretty much the highlights of that press conference. I encourage you to go watch it after you get done watching me. I think that is something that if you're really into the Braves and really into how things work, and really want to know how the inner mind of Alex Anthopoulos and the Braves just organization, I would go watch that interview.